Did you know that it only took that one German guy with the mustache 60 days after being voted into power to become a full dictator?
Actually, it was technically only 53 days, and he did do it all constitutionally. First of all, absolutely love that creator. Go watch their video, super important. Yes, Jewish people voted for the mustache man because they didn't believe that he was going to do everything that he said he was going to do. Sound familiar? Let's talk about it. First of all, this wasn't asked of me, but I want to shout out to The Atlantic for being super chill and contacting me, recognizing that we all need to work together to cover this on all angles now. Because yes, in only 53 days, in a party that won by 51%, it was hardly the majority, they dismantled the democracy and destroyed the constitutional republic through constitutional means. So listen up and listen well. We're going to do this quickly, but I bet you if we sat here for hours, we could go down the checklist and find out they're pretty much using the same playbook here. The moment that the mustache man got elected, he wanted to make sure that no one could do to him what he just did to everyone else. So even though they only won by 51%, they started growing their seats and absolutely stacking full of the right. Similarly to how the Supreme Court now leans to the right. They wanted to make sure they had total authority over their executive branch so they could speed run any law they want. But maybe even more concerningly similar to what we've seen the last few years, the mustache man ran by making the general public wary towards facts and news, right? He kind of pioneered the fake news trope, so that he could say one thing and do another, but when the news reported on it, people just wouldn't believe it. Or even to the point where he would say something horrific and they'd be like, he doesn't mean it, or come up with excuses, living in some sort of cognitive dissonance. Does that sound familiar at all? Looking at you specifically, Elon. Also, of all their departments, he established a dedicated department who focused on gaining total control of the news and the media, and pretty much all forms of communication. Does this sound familiar at all? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and soon possibly TikTok. And a lot of the way they did this was by fear-mongering certain groups of people. You know, people that didn't fit into their idealistic view of the German family. And they started all that by aiming it at two very specific groups of people. Yes, that's right. This was around back in that time, and they really, really went after them. And I think you already know the other group of people that they focused this on, right? And so they began by doing mass deportations. That's right. What we now know as a word I probably can't say on here began by just calling it mass deportations. This is why paying attention in history class is so important and probably why they want to go after the Department of Education. And how do we stop this? I don't know. I'm just a girl who reads articles and notices patterns. This one's pretty obvious, but at least let's start calling them what they are, although I think they might actually like